Welcome back to Black Clover Anime Review. This is episode number 6. This is reviewing the 56th episode of the anime, The Man Named Fanzell Continued, and the 179th of the manga, Battle of the King's Room. This new episode adapts pretty much the rest of the Surviving the Black Bulls light novel, along with chapters 81 and 82. Yeah, for about 3 minutes. It just finishes up adapting pretty much the rest of that. Kind of continuation of last week's episode, where it doesn't pick up like it does. The ending of the episode picks up right where 2 episodes back left off, and this whole episode is basically just how the Black Bulls met Fanzell. Last week it was how Asha met Fanzell, and this week is how the Black Bulls met him. Basically, he was running through the woods. He ran into Noelle completely by random, and he just happened to run into her butt naked. Kind of like the way he first showed up at the end of last week's episode. First met Asha and he's butt naked. The only difference this time is he actually had a reason. Now, this is actually a reason. He actually reason to be naked. You see, all of his items, all possessions were stolen by assassins. And these are the same assassins from last week's episode. Yes, the same exact ones. So yeah, they get back to he pretty much follows back to headquarters, still naked. You don't think he's wearing a freaking belt, and asking for help. And they kind of beat him up for basically being perverts, and kind of cut to headquarters. And Asha sees him like, "Oh hey, old man, what's up?" Yeah, and by the end of the episode, Asha does not explain how he knows him at all, despite the fact the viewers know how Asha knows him. Pretty much, and they give like a recap of the light novel. They do that, of how he taught Asha how to use the sword, and of course how there's a character from the episode pops up in this one as well. There was another character with reference in last week's episode who does make an appearance here, who does look like another character in the series. Yep. So and then not long after he shows up at Black Bull headquarters. Gray, of course, is not seeing her being a woman at this point. Yeah, from what I can tell for this, that they mentioned this takes place right after the dungeon exploration arc. So yeah, that's where this pretty much this episode takes place. Like between the dungeon exploration, and there was one other arc that came with this particular one. Yeah, while in the case of last week's episode takes place between episode 3 and 4, this one kind of takes place between the dungeon exploration arc and what was the name of the other one? Let's see. I guess injured. Yeah, it takes place between dungeon exploration and Royal Capital. Yeah, it takes place between episodes 19 and 20. Yeah, that's where this part of this episode takes place. And the assassins who were chasing Fanzell attack Black Bull headquarters, and of course the girl who has sort of like a villain last week's episode. Yeah, she turns over good side. She turns over a new leaf due to turning against the assassins, and the assassins are very weak individuals. The Black Bulls just bulldoze right through them easily, and Gachu basically takes out the commander. Well, he thinks it's the commander. He takes him out really easy. He's like, what the heck magic is this? And he takes him out a minute. Yeah. There's that. And let's see. They take them all out, and then of course we cut, and they have Fanzell, Asha, Noelle, and Fanzell, the spiritual magic guy, who is also the ladies' man in the group. He takes him to the black market where Noelle had met her previously, and says her name says Doma. My woman gave me the name Coda. Yeah, and he mentions before they go there, says her full name is Dormenta Coda, so it's the same person. And when they meet up there, she punches him repeatedly in the face, and did the same thing a little bit later. This is how do you leave me alone? Just punches him 20 times, even though she's very happy to see him. It's is this an abusive relationship? Every time he does something stupid, she punches his face 20 times. It's from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. It's just so hilarious. Yeah, and she, as sort of a he gives someone extra because Noelle got her one from her, and then of course the student shows up. She's not there to attack, and apparently Asha's words from last week's episode changed her. And then the commander, who abandoned his troops, takes him to another room, and Asha and Fennel take out his red room like really quickly. It's like, wow, this was so easy. Yeah, because Asha's got a little more powerful, and of course the Black Bulls are a lot more powerful than these assassins from the Diamond Kingdom. Yep, and then of course all of them get captured, and Fenrir, Dorma, and Marina actually go into hiding. So, and then we cut to like pretty much the end of 2 episodes back, where we have Noelle and Finstro, who actually find his house, and of course Noelle shows him flying because he basically walks around the house butt naked. And of course, he gets beaten up by now his wife, because previously it was his fiance. Now they got married somehow. Yeah, this happened off screen. They got married and they lived together. And of course, Meryl is kind of acts like their adopted daughter in the way, or at least a foster daughter. He of course beats the crap out of him for walking around the house butt naked, just because he can feel like it. I get the fact that maybe when Meryl's not around, I guess that Dorma doesn't mind if he walks in the house butt naked, but not when he have company. So I think it was justified. Now both times she beat him up, it was completely justified. Last time because he left her alone. This second time it was because he's walking around the house butt naked, and because they have company. And it kind of explains, starting to feel that Dorma is actually not technically from the Diamond Kingdom. She's actually from the same place that Jessica is from, the Witch of the Black Bulls. They're from the Witch's Forest. As a matter of fact, the episode ends with her going to the Witch's Forest, the entrance of it. That's technically when the episode ends. It covers like the rest of the whole entire chapter pretty quickly. Like, I think like they cover most of chapter 82 about a couple weeks ago. This seems like they cover like the last few pages of it. They talk briefly about how they can heal up Asha's arms, and of course she sort of takes it. That's the way it looks like next episode. Yeah, next episode looks like it's going to conclude this particular portion of this particular arc, which is the healing of Asha's arms. And then probably about 2 weeks from now, it will probably be the start of the long-running thing that takes the rest of this whole arc, where it's the Diamond Kingdom and the cult of the Midnight Sun attack the Witch's Forest. And that takes up pretty much chapters 86 to 101. And this one going to 82 is not that bad. It covers probably a little bit of stuff they missed from 2 weeks ago. So this one kind of covers the rest. And of course 82 as well. And let's see. Yeah, so it looks like maybe next week's episode will probably cover the rest of this particular portion of this arc, and maybe start up the next portion of the arc, which will be the third and final part of the whole entire thing. It's like 3 events. There's the invasion of this small town, which takes up a handful of chapters. It takes up a good chunk of chapters, and it takes up 3 episodes. This particular thing looks like, this particular portion of this particular arc, it looks like it's taking up more than just 2 or 3 episodes. This one take up so far about 3 episodes so far, and it looks like next week it's going to conclude it. Okay, now let's talk about the newest chapter of the manga, chapter 179. Exactly 21 chapters for its 200th chapter be released, which probably is going to release sometime next year. Probably next year. So my guess is by the month of December is probably when chapter not 180 comes, probably 190, because next week is 180. So yeah, I would not be surprised about that. So chapter starts off with, can't tell who this is. I think this is the villain of this chapter, who just happens to be the vice captain of the Golden Dawn. That's what I think this guy is. I'm not really sure. Talk about elves surrounding and magic. And this guy, by looking at me, think he's the Wizard King. No, he's not the Wizard King. Wizard King's dead. He actually died at the start of this arc, which is kind of stupid for the writer to do. You kill off a character that was actually quite interesting, and you kill him off at the start of this arc. Wow, I'm not sure why the writer thought this was a good idea, but okay, fine. And I should point out, this arc is going on since chapter 133. Yeah. Yeah, so pretty much at this point. This arc is going on now for almost 50 chapters. Yes, 50. And we kind of see, I think it's a flashback to, I'm not really sure. We do see a couple of characters pop up in here, more than just 2 characters like it was last chapter. We see Noelle talking in here. We see, actually it's not her Valkyrie dress, I think this is Noelle, or probably someone else from Golden Dawn. We see another guy who does some yelling. And then we see Legos, so this guy is the vice captain of the Golden Dawn. Yeah, that's him right there as an elf. Yep. So, yeah, and this is actually, oh, I forgot. This guy here, he's the king. Yeah, this guy here, this guy is the king of the Black Clover Kingdom. He's popped up for about a couple episodes of the anime so far, but mainly with just the Royal Kingdom stuff. The Royal Capital. So, we'll talk about light magic and stuff like that. Stuff being damaged. And I think this is supposed to be... I don't think this is Gray. I'm not sure who this is. Actually, it might be the Royal Princess. And then we see Fanzell. We see Fanzell, the guy who can create spiritual magic. Yeah, 2 things. Like, he shows up in this episode, and he shows up in this particular chapter. He saves the girl because he's a ladies' man. Then we see Yumi and Jack the Ripper team up to take on Fanzell's brother. And they slice at him, and the chapter kind of ends with, like, come here, please, tame me, humans. And Jack the Ripper and Yami says, this is going to be good. Really interesting chapter. I got to at least praise it for that. Still no Asha. Yeah, he's nowhere to be seen this whole chapter. I think Noelle shows up briefly this chapter. Mostly it's just a few characters, and that's really it. It's still continuing the attack of pretty much what's going on last year. This whole battle's been going on for a little while now. And it's still a pretty good chapter. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's actually a pretty good chapter. I kind of wish we were going to see Asha again. But, excuse me, who knows? But maybe next week's chapter may do that, because next week's chapter is the 180th chapter of the manga. And also next week is the 57th episode of the anime. Though the episode watched today, the dub release will release for that until episode 59 comes out for the sub. Yes, this coming Sunday will be episode 53. Yeah, it'll be a little bit while before I catch up to like new releases of dub episodes, basically, of new episodes that I pretty much have not bench watched. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my comic corner, or to do that next. And until I see you in the next review, bye.